It's time to take command with former NFL tight end Logan Paulsen and former Commanders beat reporter Craig Hoffman.
Take Command podcast from Odyssey Sports. I'm Craig Hoffman. That is Logan Paulsen. All right, Logan, a little bit faster pace to these questions. We're going to kind of go through our offensive line section here. I got a couple of offensive line adjacent questions.
Yeah.
The first one is quarterback / offensive line. I'm just going to read the question, and then we can parse it out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Quote unquote, why are we risking Sam Howell behind this O-line?
End quote. That's
End
it.
Quote.
To me, yes. Like I'm trying to.
I just think this is a silly premise to the question.
It's a silly premise too. I think it's silly. But what I'm saying is I'm trying to assume that the question asker is saying like you're risking his development. And I think if you've been watching the team, if you've been following Ron, like they need a guy out there who can play. They think it's this guy, right? And so, like they want guys to win football games. They think Sam's got the best upside of doing that. It allows them to build a good roster around him. And quite frankly, they feel more confident in this offensive line than I think we do. And I think, the more I think about it, I'm higher on the O-line. I'm warming to them. But
dangerous thing.
There's
we did that last year on some stuff. I'm just telling you.
But to me, it's not a risk. It's like he's a 5th round pick.
Right.
He's got to play. He's a second-year player. Like he's on the roster for a reason. You think he gives you the best chance to win? I mean, do you see it differently than that? I mean, that's
no. Because on September, whatever the hell date is, there's a football game, and they got to put someone out there, and he's the best guy they got. Or he won't be, and then Jacoby will be out there.
It's like were they risking Tom Brady when he was behind like one of the worst O lines in football? No, it's like he's gonna play. He's your best.
What are we risking? Football players play football, and that's not to take away the humanity of like the injury risk that exists on every snap for every single player. Like, but that's part of what you sign up for. Like you knew that when you played.
Yeah.
Every guy that I've ever talked to, like they understand that what it is. I remember I've told this story before, but it's a 2-sentence story. Like I remember talking to Trent one year when he got to camp, and I was like, "How you doing?" And he's like, "This is the best I'm going to feel all year." And I'm like, oh, "Cool, it's day one of camp. You haven't started yet. That's really depressing. Best you'll feel for 8 months."
And I guess
that's what it is.
But like risking his development maybe is the way they're going. And to me, it's like. It's not even. It is a risk, but it's a 5th round draft pick. He's a 5th round draft pick. Like the risk is very low. And so that sounds a little bit callous, but like that's the NFL, man. Like he's there because he wants to start. He's going to start. Is this a less than ideal situation? Yes. Are 90% of the jobs in the NFL less than ideal? Absolutely. Like offensive lines.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah,
for him to get traded to the Eagles and be able to play behind them.
Yeah. Like it's not going to happen. Like, it's just like, he's got to play. And we're going to talk about this more later. Like he's got a new OC, new terminology, offensive line. It doesn't have like a bunch of big names, like, but you got to play. And like, this is the time. So it is kind of a funny question. The development. Yeah. But that's like, you've seen it. You've covered the team for a long time. Like you can't always wait for people to develop.
I'm also a little bit of a sink or swim guy. Not that there aren't situations like what happened to David Carr in Houston was ridiculous.
It was terrible. Yeah.
Like that dude got laid out behind a bad O-line and never had a chance. And like, that wasn't fair. He was playing in like a borderline unprofessional situation.
Yeah.
However, I think beyond that kind of circumstance, the good ones are going to figure it out. Like you're going to have a game in December in a year where your team is good, that 3 linemen are hurt, and you're going to have to figure out how to play. So if that's Tom Brady back there, like people, and if they lose, people are going to be like, what happened to Brady? And it's like, well, he had 3 of his own linemen out. It's like, I don't know, he's Tom Brady. Like that's what it takes to win in the NFL. So is there always a line of development where you're better prepared perhaps later after some experience? Absolutely. But generally speaking, either Sam's going to be good because he was going to be good, or he's going to be bad because he was never going to be good. And, all we're doing is figuring it out sooner rather than later. And this idea of what he could be gets crushed for some people because he stinks. Well, that's probably because it wasn't what you thought he was going to be. Or he turns out to be that, and that's great, and faster, and he wasn't, we're not 5 years down the line going, why hasn't this guy been playing the last 3 years?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it just goes back kind of to just lay another serving of whatever we're talking about. It's just like if he's the best guy on your roster, he's a 2nd-year player, he's got to play. Like
Yeah.
it's unfair to the staff. It's unfair to the
So why are you willing
players.
to sacrifice Jacoby?
Well, like I'm just like that's what I'm saying. It's like it's if Jacoby's better, he should play. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
if that's your best guy, play.
Right.
And again, is it going to be perfect? No, but like there's so many times, like Rex Grossman, for example, he said this to me. He's like, you know, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the situation. It's like he had this thing in Chicago, didn't go well. He lost a starting job. He's like, it took me, I think it was like 8 years to get back to the starting position. And was his situation when he got back ideal? No, that team was not very good. I was on the team. Like it wasn't the best team of all time, you know? But like he grabbed that with two hands and was like, we got to make this work because this is the last opportunity I'm going to get. And I think that's what fans need to understand. It's like you don't get a lot of bites at this apple, and it's not always going to be a perfect, pristine, fresh apple off the shelf. Sometimes it's got a little brown on it, and you're going to take it because you're hungry and you want to eat it. So I think that's kind of how I feel about this opportunity.
Right. Next question along these lines too, the offensive line. We've talked about this a lot, so we can move pretty quickly through this.
Yeah.
But like, how can Eric Bieniemy help the offensive line? What creative things can he do to quote unquote protect this O line from its own averageness, mediocrity, or badness, depending on who you ask?
Well, I think that's the thing is like a lot of O lines in the league are like average. And I think
Yeah.
you're looking for an average O line. You're not looking for like, I mean, Philly's a great example. Like they're the best O line in football. They hit on some guys you didn't expect to hit on. They became really good. Most of the O lines that you play with have to be insulated from drop back passing. So how do you do that? Chip help, play action, screen game, RPO, misdirection, keepers. Like, and this offense in Kansas City has a lot of shades of that. So I think this is going to be a situation where we're a little bit worried about the O line. I had a conversation with a coach today, and it was just like, man, this is going to be so much better for that group because we're not drop back passing every single play. And that's something we've talked about. That's something we've seen, and
Yeah.
that's something that just at a bare minimum is going to put those guys in a better position to be successful. Are they going to be perfect? Probably not. But are they going to be average? I think they are capable of being average, and that'll win you games in the NFL.
For sure. And like the question used the word creative, and I think in some people's mind it's gonna be like, oh, they're gonna run jet sweeps and reverses and reverse
Yeah.
passes and halfback passes, and Sam's gonna tuck the ball under his jersey and run around like he's got a baby. Like what? I don't know what people think is gonna happen with this offense, but it's just like what modern NFL offense is now.
Just
Of
good
like,
offenses, yeah.
yeah, like there's going to be more play action. There's going to be more boot. You're going to see a fake that actually looks like a run play that they run, as opposed to last year where the play actions and the run plays were different actions. And it's like, if you're a smart enough defensive player, you can probably figure out that it's play action because they don't actually run that run play.
Yeah.
And so it's stuff like that is not really that creative. It's just modernizing to the intelligence of modern NFL defenses and using some of what they do against them. And it's really not that, like, it's not that complicated. It is hard to,
It's really hard
to call that and like do it well. It is much easier to sit here and conceptualize behind a microphone, but the concept ain't that hard, and it doesn't require some like genius level of creativity. What it does require, and where I think Eric is very well suited, is attention to detail on the practice field and the meeting room in terms of teaching the execution, and then a discipline in calling it. That 100%. Is going to be the question with him that we just don't know yet, because Andy was calling the plays in Kansas City. But if he has that discipline to continue to keep that variety on a good mix and a feel for it, then I think that's the answer to the question.
Yeah, I think, and I'm glad you said discipline there, because that's really what it is. It's just like, how sharp can you be for 60 plays as a play caller? Can you stay out of third and long? Can you manage defensive expectations with your play calls? And I think, like you said, that's really what it boils down to. It's really hard to do. It's very, very hard to do. And that's why there's only a couple of really good coordinators in the league, Andy Reid being one of them. Hopefully Eric Bieniemy falls into that category soon. But I think that's a great way to put it. It's like what is it? It's just a consistent approach incorporating a variety of ideas down in and down out that subvert defensive expectations. There's nothing magical about it. It's just hard work, feel, and getting that executed. So I think that's a great way to articulate that.
All right. Last one kind of on the quarterback offensive line. section here, and then we'll get to some fun, very random questions. Alex says Washington's training camp quarterback or QB1 has been brand new to Ashburn 4 times in the last 5 years. So Howell, in his second straight year with the team, actually provides more continuity than we're used to lately. Will that small amount of QB consistency be important in the coming season?
I misread that question the first time because he did acknowledge that it was like a less than ideal situation. It's like a small amount of continuity,
small
right?
amount.
And I think yes, I think yes, because one of the
It's better
things
than
about
none.
it's better than it is better than none. Because one of the things that sticks out to me is that like that relationship with the receivers, the offensive line, and the guys in the room helps with leadership stuff. You know, it's like, hey man, like, oh, I like Sam. I know Sam. I can have lunch with Sam. I can approach Sam, as opposed to somebody new coming in and being like, I don't know this guy. I got to build that relationship. I got to understand how he likes to communicate. It does kind of hamper communication and that kind of stuff. So I think that is beneficial. But in terms of, you know, like big picture, like high level stuff in terms of what was the word he used? Continuity.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of continuity for Sam. It's an entirely new offense. There's a lot of new people on the staff. Like it's basically like he almost came in day one when Eric Bieniemy became the coach here. Almost, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not his fault. That's just how it goes. But it is a very small amount of continuity. I think it's important to understand that there is a contribution to it, but it's not like this, wow, he's been in the offense for 4 years type of thing.
Right. There is continuity with personnel sometimes, though, where like, you know, or a quarterback might understand a receiver's body language. He's about to break when and things like that. The problem is Sam didn't really practice that much with the guys he's throwing to now. Like, he didn't get a lot of reps with Terry McLaurin last year because Sam was the third string and Terry was the starter. And so outside of Bieniemy, who most of those reps came in college anyway, there's not a lot of continuity even on that level. So yes, from a human perspective, there is continuity, and that's great. The ability to sit at the lunch table, to understand how guys tick a little bit. The relationship is different when you're the starter for sure, but there's a human connection that is important and is already built. However, from a football perspective, both on the field and within the offense, you know, scheme wise and personnel wise, there's next to nothing. There is nothing on the scheme side because Bieniemy is bringing in stuff that's brand new, and he might as well be coming from college into this offense. It's just one offense to the next. Whether it was a pro or a college, there's no difference. And then, you know, personnel wise, again, he didn't practice with a lot of these guys last year, so that's the answer to that.
Well, also you bring up a good point though. Like he it's not like he's starting from college because he has seen NFL defenses. He has seen a week's prep. Like there are things that are helpful, like from a professionalism and interpersonal relationship standpoint, but and he can apply that now.
But that's second year stuff, not necessarily like continuity stuff.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for watching this clip of Take Command. First, why don't you like it? It lets other people know that it was good, and then they should watch it too. And Logan, we have a new exclusive home for full episodes.
We do. 1067 The Fans YouTube page. Go check it out and please subscribe.
Yeah, do what Logan said.
Do it.
Very, very smart.